Hey guys, it's Lola here, and this is just to say that Velisa and I are going to be very busy over the next couple of weeks, so we have pre-recorded some episodes for you. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of a mare with the audio, so the audio quality for the next couple of episodes isn't really where we would like it to be. We tried our best to clean it up, and hopefully it's not too bad to listen to, but this is just to say apologies in advance, and hopefully we'll be back with our normal audio quality soon. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Hi, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa. You can call me Velisa if you want. And this is another very special episode of the Everybody Hates HR podcast.
What makes it special?
Me and you.
Okay, good. You know, sometimes we say that our special episodes can be other guests, but there's no guests.
There's no guests. Just us.
We have enough.
We are. We're more than enough, to be honest.
What we're talking about today.
So before we get into it, can I just say one thing? I've been waiting. I know I said I wouldn't watch Love Island after everything I went through with Whitney not winning, but Love Island All-Star Games has started. But
I'm not watching it.
It's exclusive to Peacock. Like,
what is Peacock?
Have you not heard of Peacock? So it's where Bel Air, the remake, and the Best Man series.
I know what it is. Obviously, I don't have Peacock, so.
Yeah, that's where that's just another channel.
Is it ITV? It's not ITV?
No, it's not on ITV too. So I just wanted to say that's ridiculous, and now I feel like I'm not going to watch it. But my cousin messaged me today because we usually watch it, like the American one and stuff at the same time. She's like, "Can we watch it together?" And I'm like, "I don't know about this."
How much is Peacock?
I don't know.
Is it streaming?
I'm not sure if it's on a network or it's a stream. I think it's similar to Now TV.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, that's just my mini.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching?
Did you watch the Wagga the Thing?
No, I haven't.
Oh, come on, man.
I've been rewatching Scandal. Go on, judge me.
I told you I was rewatching a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, really. I never finished it the first time because it just got really stupid, but I'm pushing through it.
I never watched one episode.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, Scandal was really good.
There's a lot of things I haven't watched that I'm like...
Have you watched How to Get Away with Murder?
No. I love it. I know I would love it.
Oh my God.
But you know what it is? It's just never been a very good time. Like, whenever I've thought I want to watch this, I've had something to do.
Okay, but Christmas is the best time to like...
Yeah, I'm taking some time off as well soon, so... Yeah.
How to Get Away with Murder, I think you should watch.
How many seasons is it? How long, if you're binging, how long does it take?
If you binge like me, or if you're a standard binger?
Oh no, I'm going to binge like you. That's the kind of... You know.
I think you can finish How to Get Away with Murder in like a week and a half.
Okay.
Some people might be judging me as they hear that.
How many seasons is it?
How many seasons is How to Get Away with Murder? I wouldn't say it's like...
Let me Google it on my very professional iPad. So, I got my iPad today and I was just like, this makes me feel like a professional person. I'm holding my iPad here like I have notes when it's really sticked up.
Literally. 6 seasons.
Okay, that's a lot.
Exactly, it's calm.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I spoke at an event this week and it was good. I took my iPad for notes. And on God, I felt like I really made it.
You felt like a TED talk.
Because I sometimes speak about notes, and sometimes that they're definitely up print, or like sometimes I put them in the notes section so that when I'm doing the PowerPoint, I can see them. But I was like, it makes so much more sense. And when you're standing there, if you have like a piece of paper, it doesn't look great. That's why I don't carry paper. But then when you have an iPad, you just look like, wow, what a technology savvy person. Yeah, so I was there. My only regret is I didn't have one of those mics, the head mics.
Oh, that would have been great.
I would love to have a head mic.
That would have been great.
It would have been. I did a picture on LinkedIn last night. I've got like a striped dress, and it's so funny because like there's like a conference like aesthetic. There's a conference aesthetic, like a corporate conference. There's corporate events. Like I have like a certain section of my wardrobe or dresses which are just for those things, and I know what the vibe is. And when I went, it was like an accounting event, so like the age demographic and just there was like, I love your dress. I wore it in another location. I don't think it would have had like, oh my God, this dress is just amazing. So I was like, yeah. So I know what the accountant aesthetic looks like. I mean, I was up for you. So what are we talking about now?
So we've got a few things to talk about. I'm just trying to think what order we should do them in. Maybe we should talk about current affairs
Yeah.
first and then go into other stuff. So I'm sure that more than sure everybody listening is aware of the conflict happening with regards to Palestine and Israel. And yeah, so we're not going to talk about our views or anything like that on it, but just about how it has and is impacting the workplace and people's freedom of speech, and you know how people feel they can or should they share their views in the workplace, and how different companies are managing that.
Yeah. It's really tough because I don't think there's any kind of universal like answer. Obviously, the safest answer is to not talk about stuff like that because it's like, even though it's human rights, we're talking about like politics and this like those things are really difficult to talk about at work. And when you're speaking about something so emotive, it's very easy to, I guess, offend people or, you know, kind of start conflicts within the team. So either just to not talk about it, but saying that when it's something which is like affecting, where you feel so strongly about it, sometimes it is difficult for them to kind of not speak about it or not harbour negative feelings towards colleagues when they have such different views to you and you feel like, you know, you're on the, you know, quote unquote right side of history or the wrong, like you don't want other people to be on the wrong side of history or whatever. So it's really tough, but I do think that when we're in the workplace, we just do need to be mindful that not everybody has the same opinion as us. Even if, so, I mean, and some people's opinion is us, but it's still their opinion, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we have the right to have it.
Mm.
And even if you're right, if you don't do things the right way, or even if you're wrong, like, depending on how things are done, and there's so many different policies that you can touch on. So, for instance, I think you see the train driver, the tube driver.
Yes. Yes.
So there was a tube driver. I'm trying to remember the video, but basically he was basically saying he came with tannoy and he said, you know, he feels quite strongly about, you know, supporting the people of Palestine, and that, you know, between the next here and the next stop, wherever they were, he's going to do a chant to free Palestine. He invited everyone to join him. So on the train, a lot of people were shouting "Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine," and it went viral. Mm-hmm. And then he was subsequently suspended from his role as a tube driver. I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if he was dismissed. I don't know kind of what happened. But for me, I could have easily told you that was not going to go well, because it's not about your political opinion or whether you support Palestine or whether you know, support Israel or whatever. It is about, that's not your job to do that. It's not your job to do that. Like, you could never, like, you, for instance, like, even if you think it's more of a human rights issue than a political one, you could never, as a tube driver, use your position as a tube driver to come on and say, F Rishi Sunak, or I support Rishi, or, you know, I love Keir Starmer, or, you know, vote Labour, or vote for the Tory party, or vote Lib Dem, or, you know, UKIP to the world. Like, you could never do that. So I completely understand, like, why that was never going to end well. And I think some people see it as, like, you know, not wanting to support the people of Palestine, but there's ways that you can do that in your own time, versus doing it on work time when you're representing your company. Like, if you're a representative of TFL, which you are as a tube driver during the time you're at work, you can't, as a representative of TFL, take a stance, especially if that stance is, you know, I don't know if it is contrary to what TFL are saying, but yeah, you can't take that stance. Some companies actually, I don't know what you're seeing, but some companies have kind of made statements about it, which appear to kind of come down on one side or the other. Mm-hmm. And I definitely have, like, my own personal opinions, mm-hmm. yeah, about everything. And my personal opinion is that it's not that hard, yeah. There's much more to say for now, but there's companies who have come out with statements, and that in itself, it can be so harmful to your employees. Like, this is not like, I don't think this is, it's not like a matter of like, they haven't been an earthquake, you know. It's not an earthquake. We're not saying we're standing with these people that like, it's different. It's not, if you're going to come down on either side, you have to appreciate that that is going to potentially offend a population of your employees. And it may be the case that you don't care. You're like, if you're like, you know, Israel has the right to defend itself or whatever, and that's your corporate stance that you're going to take, and if employees don't like it, you're like, leave. Or if you're like, you know, the people of Palestine deserve to be free and they should be free, and that's the stance you're going to take, and if it upsets other people, then that's what it is, that's fine. But I think at this point, like, anything that gets said, we know that this is very polarizing. And,
yeah. I just feel like there's too many people in a company for a company to just come down heavy on one side and like you said, and think it's not going to have an impact. But then, do you know what was coming into my mind as she was speaking? Like, I was thinking of like high profile companies where the CEO, for example, Meta, my favorite company to talk about, obviously Mark Zuckerberg is Jewish. So somebody like that, I guess you kind of have to make some sort of statement that kind of makes it clear where your company stands on it. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like naturally people are going to think, well, okay, well, Zuck is Jewish, so surely he's got to be coming down on one side than the other. But that might not be his stance. But you might be more curious if your CEO is Mark Zuckerberg. Do you know what I mean?
When we had like, when it was like Russia and Ukraine, I don't think this is comparable to that. But when it was Russia and Ukraine, a lot of the CEOs or senior leaders or companies that had Russian leadership felt compelled to come out and say something.
You would though, wouldn't
they
you?
did, yeah, and they had to kind of be very diplomatic about that. I find this really difficult, to be honest, because I personally have quite strong views about it, and I do find it really difficult. But I appreciate that we still at work.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what people have to realize, that you can have strong views about things, but there's strong views that we have. I had strong views about Brexit. Like, but I didn't come to work telling people, are you in or out, you leave or remain.
Brexit felt tense though, I'm not gonna lie. When I walked into the workplace, I could feel the people that voted to leave. I could feel them.
Do you know, what I think is crazy? During Brexit times, I was working at, I was on secondment to Thomas Cook. And Thomas Cook had an office in Aldersgate, you know, the big roundabout in near St. Paul's. And then they had another office in, I don't want to say Darlington, I don't know, somewhere north of London. And in the London office, when we got the result, the next day we went into office, it was silent, like the movie and everything. And they had a party.
Oh, really?
The other office had a party, like they were celebrating.
Wow.
And I was just like, and then it was really weird because in the London office it was so tense. And so, but in the same company, in an office however many miles away, they had a party to celebrate with flags and everything.
Wow, that we were leaving. That's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
An office party to celebrate Brexit. Some of your colleagues are. Even the CEO at the time was German, and he commuted to London. Yeah, he would fly back and forth like once a week. Yeah, so spend like a couple of days in the office and then go back. And then in the upper part, they were literally jubilating. So it just shows you that like a lot of this stuff just depends on like your location, your personal experience and stuff like that. But I know if I was working for a company and the senior leadership came out and they said something which was really the antithesis of what I believed when it comes to this particular conflict, I would be really upset. I wouldn't necessarily know if I wanted to stay there, because this for me is like, it's not. I was even going to compare it to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is actually very easy. It's like there's no sides to choose. It's like you can't really be in favour of police brutality. Like you can't really be in favour. So even though I'm sure people have still found ways to kind of go against it, but when you say something like Black Lives Matter, the only opposition to that is what it doesn't And no one will say that. Do you know what I mean? So even though there have been people, it's back of mind is very simple because there's no real other side of it that feels legitimate. Whereas with this, for a lot of people, there are two sides that feel legitimate, or people have differing views or whatever. So if you feel, let's say you feel really strongly about, you know, Palestine, you think, you know, Gaza is an open air prison, people have been in prison for however many years, like it's not right, it's not fair. And then your leader comes and is like, yeah, going to what people are saying on war crimes, right? Yeah, Israel has the right to defend itself. The sound of things that we're hearing, you might feel really strongly about that. You might feel strongly enough that you actually want to leave. And I think if you cared enough, then you would. Like, it would hurt you. So this is very difficult right now.
Yeah, no, it is. I think one thing as well that's changed in the workplace, like in more recent years, that I think is making it a bit more tense and harder to deal with and discuss in the workplace, is because a lot of companies now have various social ways of communicating at work. So you've got things like Slack, you've got things like Teams, you've got things like Workplace, where you can create these groups, right? So for example, with Slack, you can have a black at whatever company.
Even
Slack.
ERGs, yeah.
Yeah, you can have ERGs on there. You can have political channels. I've worked in companies where there was even like groups made where you can sell things, or if you were all into hip hop or classical music, there was a group for you, right? Where you could join. Yeah. So I think when you have these sorts of things going on in the world, there is now a space and an opportunity for all these different people in these different groups to feel like, okay, well, we talk in these groups. Why can't I now bring up how I feel?
And especially like, so, for instance, there'll be companies that have, for instance, a Muslim network.
Yeah.
And one of the things that a lot of networks do, it's, you know, LGBT networks, Muslim networks, black networks, whatever, one of the things they do a lot of time is advocate for minoritized groups or people that need it, whether that is kind of locally or away. There'll be LGBT groups that are kind of doing charity work to help people from their community in countries where they're being persecuted.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the things. So now imagine you have a Muslim network, or you have a group of, you can even from a Palestinian group.
Yeah.
Or you have a Jewish network, or you have just anything.
And because of that, now lines are getting blurred in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, unfortunately, it's just not appropriate to have these discussions within the workplace. Like,
but then, do you know what I'm thinking? Like, we've enabled it to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of time we don't have it. Like, the UK doesn't have a stake in what's going on, so we don't care. So, for instance, if your LGBT network is now, you know, doing a project to support, you know, gay people in Uganda, maybe because they're being persecuted, no one cares. Suddenly, if it's another country where it's like, or it's a bigger thing, or it's a country that we have more affinity with, or there's a political motivation, now do you tell them to stop that work? It's so difficult.
It's blurred the line so much, and obviously working in HR, it sometimes feels really difficult to do my job because, you know, when people have these discussions, they're potentially offending someone, triggering someone, upsetting someone, just because their view doesn't match that person's view. And it's just like, should we be talking about this in the workplace? But then at the same time, like you said, the lines have just been so blurred as to when and what you can talk about. Because I think 10 years ago, if something was happening in, I don't know, well, for example, we would have been young enough. Would have been young enough.
When I need to sleep. Bring me with you. Bring me with you.
But the stuff with like America and Afghanistan and Iraq and all of that stuff, yeah.
No, we did in Iraq, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know what was going on in workplaces at that point in time, but I wonder, like, did companies feel the same need that they feel now to speak up? Yeah, it's changed, right? Like,
yeah, there's just a lot. When we have more social conscience and people care more.
Yeah. Well, do they care more, or do they just feel like they have to look like they care more?
I feel like they care more. I think
They do.
I think we have people, but I think
but they're still not the majority in the workplace.
they're not the majority in the workplace. But I do feel that we have a society where people are
Scared.
it looks like they care.
Yeah.
Companies do the most to make it look like they're just so scared of being cancelled that they just do the most.
Plus, they mess it up so many times.
Yeah, they just do the most. It's just very, it's very difficult. Like if I was a company right now, to be honest, if somebody asked me for my view, as speaking on behalf of my company, I would say it. I would say this is, if someone said you have to I wouldn't put a neutral statement out. I would put a strong statement saying what I believe, and if someone decided that they didn't want to give me work, I genuinely wouldn't care, because I am one of those people, like I feel that I want to say, I want to speak my truth. Like that's one of the benefits of working for myself. Like I don't have to lie. I don't have to lie, and I have to do those things. Like, and I don't think it would be a problem. But I get why companies are putting out neutral statements. Not even maybe because they are neutral, just because they have so many employees in their workforce that they have to try and be fair, or try to make it seem like they're not favouring anybody.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about when I was pregnant, and my midwife at the time, Abby, she was great. I remember the first time she sent me an email, her signature at the bottom had the rainbow flag for Pride, Black Lives Matter, and 5 more, which, if you don't know, is to do with Black mortality and maternity being 5 times higher than it is in other ethnic minority. Sorry, not ethnic majority, but white people. And I thought that really, when I saw it, I was like, oh, like this is. And by the way, Abby is a straight white woman. Like those, do you know what I mean? Standard. So when I saw it, it struck me. But I did think, oh, if I'm, as a Black pregnant woman, seeing that, my eyes lit up, because I was like, oh my god, she's showing some form of like acknowledgement, even if it's a bit performative. I don't think it was, because she was great, but I'm just wondering if maybe if I was a white woman coming in and I received that email, it shouldn't care, but would I? Potentially, I could feel like...
If I saw, like, this is the thing that I'll never get, and I don't know if it's because, like, as much as I try to step back and think, oh, how would I feel if I was in the majority group or something like that, I would never really understand what it's like, and I get that. But I just will never understand why that would bother you. Like, if I saw... if somebody emailed me, or one of the service providers, or somebody who, you know, was supporting me to do something, emailed and they said something like, you know, I don't know, like talking about LGBT, or, you know, the Muslim population, or just a group of people that I have nothing to do with or don't necessarily resonate with me, and it was showing to advocate for, I wouldn't care unless I hated those people. Like, I just wouldn't care. Like, unless you try to tell me justice for the National Front, I don't care. I don't care. Unless you're telling me up UKIP, like, if I see that your signature, I'm gonna a strong side eye. You know what I mean? But if you're telling me, if you're literally, you know, advocating for another minoritized group or another group, and it's positive, or I can see that you're trying to do something good for somebody else, I'm not gonna feel like, oh, that's not my group.
Yeah.
Even if, like, I'm not gonna care. Like, even if you try to tell me you're for men's rights, I'm still not gonna care, because it's just whatever. If you advocate for men in the, you know, family justice system, or whatever you want to be, family court system, fine. I don't care. So that's why I will never understand it when people are so offended, like, oh yeah, but, you know, Black. I don't care. Yeah. If other people were dying, that they had maternal mortality rate, or infant mortality rate or something, I would be like, oh wow, like, you know, you want to do something about it, I'll be like, great for you. Like,
but that's because you're normal. A lot of people
are not normal. They're not normal.
Like, I don't know. I'm going a bit left, but not really. But kind of sticking on topic. If you saw the clip from, I don't know, was it LBC? Pink, and somebody called in. Did you see it?
I see LBC clips all the time. Depends which one it was.
So a man called in, an English man called in, to basically show support for Israel, but the way that he did it was by saying his 11-year-old daughter, who is in the UK, who lives with him, is scared that Hamas were going to come and attack her at night. and she like she's been unable to sleep because of it. And I just thought,
your 11-year-old daughter is
where first of all, where is she hearing that? Secondly, like, you should be very concerned that your 11-year-old daughter is scared that she's, you know, these things are going to happen to her in the UK, because what have you taught her? What are you teaching her?
She does not think she should be afraid of. There are things that as a young girl you should be afraid of, but it's
not that.
It's not Hamas.
But I just thought, like, this is just crazy. And I feel like your life doesn't stop when you leave work, right? So you'll see things like that or other things going on, and then now you have to come to the workplace and also feel a little bit silenced because it's not the right place to talk about that sort of stuff. But it's a build-up for some people. And I feel like for example, with the George Floyd stuff, when all of that stuff was happening in 2020, some leaders didn't know how to deal with it, and what they did was use the black tax, which means that they went to black people to find out what they should do or how they, you know, not necessarily how are they feeling and how can we help. It was more, can you tell us like how we could do that? And I feel like that's not being done this time. I don't feel like people are necessarily talking to those groups, and now they just want them to be silent in the workplace. I just feel like lines are just so blurred.
I feel like there's different groups of people. So there's people like me and you who maybe don't have a personal or familial connection to these, to either Palestine or Israel or anything that's really happening, right? And then there'll be people who actually do. Like, and it's already, for me, it's overwhelming. You know, like, it's just so much going on and there's so many feelings involved. Imagine if you're a Palestinian or even Israeli or whatever, and you might know people, or you're, you know, you feel a certain way, that there's Palestinians and there's Israelis out here and in the workplace. And when it was the stuff that happened with Russia and Ukraine, people were checking on people, Russians and Ukrainians, to see how they were doing. And now, I don't feel that we don't have the...
If I speak,
we don't have the...
if I speak,
we don't have the... It's not even the same energy.
It's not.
Even on kind of to either side, people, it's not like people are going to Israelis or going to Palestinians, and, you know, maybe in some workplaces, but I just haven't heard of people checking in that same kind of way. Like, it's...
But they should. My issue with a lot of companies is they just don't like the level of uncomfortability that these conversations and world events bring to the workplace. But as we can see, this is just going to keep happening. There's going to be something that you have... All you people that went to go and fire your DNI people...
Bring them back!
George Floyd is over now.
Yeah.
People like, bring them back. You need them at all times, because now a lot of companies, and like one of my friends sent me what her company put out. Actually, I won't say the company because it's quite big, but the statement was just ridiculous. And it's like, who looks over this? Who said this was okay? Like, it's just mad. It's mad. But I hope everybody who, you know, has emotions and views, whoever you are, like at all levels, I hope you know, are feeling like you can protect yourself in the workplace and just finding ways of coping, because it's just
I just think anybody, and especially if you have like a personal connection, like, I don't know how you're surviving at the moment.
Do you know what? That just reminded me that I saw, it's not funny, but I was like, this is kind of... So I saw a tweet of somebody was at work. Somebody came in from lunch and had McDonald's. So I don't know if everyone watching, but McDonald's has shown some sort of like alliance to Israel. So a lot of Palestinian supporters have decided to boycott McDonald's and Starbucks and Disney Plus and all of these people, these brands apparently, that have, like, you know, shown some sort of like support to Israel. So this person came in with their lunch, which was McDonald's. Do you see what I'm saying? And apparently the office just got really tense because it's a London office. There was a lot of Palestinians.
I wouldn't even know that.
That's what I'm saying. So
I ain't mixed up. What's their statement? Like, I just had Wingstop. What is this statement?
Yeah, but apparently there was a level of like tension because
That's
this person
crazy.
came in with McDonald's.
That
knowing
is
what's
crazy.
going-
That's crazy. I'm so sorry. How am I supposed to know? I'm not doing that. My life is too. There's too much to do already. Don't think I'm gonna be on Deliveroo looking up the food hygiene rating, and then straight after I'm looking up the food hygiene rating, I'm gonna look on their corporate website to see what they said about I'm not doing that. That's crazy. No.
What?
Don't take my joy.
It caused tension, and like he was a bit clueless. Like
Of course you would be.
the person didn't know what was going on. But you know,
Look, it wasn't me.
depending on your level of wokeness, air quote, like will determine, I guess, how much you know about that stuff or what companies to.
I think if you feel strongly about it, strong enough about it, that for instance, if I saw a company and they said something I didn't agree with it, I think it was wrong or whatever, I might not want to shop with them. Do you know what I mean? But if I see it, I'm not going out of my way to check. Like, I'm not there yet.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I feel like even if I would be so annoyed. Even if I understood, where it's coming from, I'll be so annoyed. I'm like, so me, I'm your colleague, yeah, and now I'm going to just eat nugget for lunch. Eat a nugget for lunch.
Now you hate
And then I said with you.
like I didn't know. It's fine.
Forgive me. No, I'll be furious.
Yeah, like there's so many blurred lines at work. Like I just feel like the real world and work just blur way more than it did like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Do you know what? I had this conversation with someone recently, and they were like, now, and also I just don't like the use of the word woke in that context. I like it in its original context, how we're using it.
I hate the word woke.
Yeah. So, but they were like, oh, the world is too woke now. There's like certain things that every show where everything has an ulterior motive. They're trying to shove certain things down after an agenda. When we use the word agenda, I think, shut up, man. As soon as you tell me it's agenda, unless it's a meeting, I'm not listening. But I was on TikTok.
Sorry.
What?
Just, do you know, it's not that my grandma says there's an agenda, but my grandma has this thing, where like if there's loads of like adverts with black people in a row, she'll just every time a black person comes up, she'll be like, Black Lives Matter. Just like it's so funny. I don't know why she does it.
Where's your Christmas? You know the number you're on family? And no one thinks they're family.
Come on, yours on TikTok.
Biracial.
Can you make that into a TikTok?
Thanks, biracial. So I was saying on the last episode, that guy actually made a full album. I don't think that's that. So I think there's like she's Nigerian. Like there's like lots of different ones. So she's a white girl. There's like he made loads of them. I love it. But what's the thing? So on TikTok, I came across this film. A clip of this film, a Disney original film. I can't remember what it was called, but it's basically about it's during the time of apartheid, and there's a white girl who lived in South Africa. Her dad was a police officer, and her dad was one of the police officers which was, responsible for upholding apartheid and all this other kind of stuff. And she had built, very well-to-do family. She went on some American exchange program. So she went to America, and let's say the family were called like the Browns, or maybe not the Browns, maybe like they were called the Smiths. Yeah. So they went there, and they didn't know much about the family, but they were like a really nice family, whatever. When she got there, the family were black, or mixed race or something like that. And obviously her family are like quite like anti, black. And so it gave her like, she was scared, like it was a lot of fear for her and a lot of like discomfort. And when the girl, the black girl, her age, she was a black girl, mixed race girl, I think, I didn't see her parents, but she was basically talking about, your dad is a bad man, and your government is racist, and all of this kind of stuff. And it was from 2003, the film, when I looked it up. And I was like, I don't think they could ever end this film now. And they would, apparently this film was banned in South Africa anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the South Africa was like, no, we're not having this. But I don't think they could ever end that film now. I don't think, people say, oh, it's very woke now, and it's all like, kind of push, but actually, because she said, your country is racist, and she used the word racist, and it's not like, we just don't hear it a lot in things, like it's a children's movie. Like a Disney original movie. So it must have been like maybe for the teenagers to watch it or whatever. And I was like, I don't think so. So I'm like, are we going forwards or backwards? Because I don't think they could use the word racist in such a context now and not have that film be tagged. Like, I just don't think it will be possible. So I'm like, are we going forward or backwards? Like in this, it was really interesting clip. I hope to watch the full film at some point, but I saw it this week and I was just like, it really made me think that I don't think we could. If Disney wanted to do it now, they would do it in some wonky, in like, what's that thing, in animations, and it would be, I don't know, some whales, and all the whales would be black. I mean, all the whales would be purple, and then one whale would be blue, and they would say, I don't like being a blue whale. The other whales make fun of me.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like some wonky animation like that.
That's true.
And then there'll be some moral of the story. Oh, even if you're blue, we still love you. Like, they could never.
They do it how Barbie done it. It'd be like the Barbie film. It'll be done in a way like that. Yeah, it's not going to...
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, we go backwards or forwards, because this is...
Yeah, no, there's a lot of censoring. Like...
Yeah.
There is.
I think, like, it's becoming much. Personally, right now, with all this stuff, like, there's a lot of stuff that you, I guess, can and can't say. It's so difficult now.
Yeah.
But it's like, what can you say and what can't you say?
It's honestly, it's so hard. And, like, as a HR person who, like, throughout my career has had to listen to some views that I just want to say, you are such a dumb bitch. Like, no, you're just listening to someone and you're just thinking, why do you think that this makes sense? Like, why do you think this is okay? Like, there's been so many times, like, in conversations where I've just heard some crazy views, and I'm also thinking, why do you feel so comfortable to say this in the workplace? One, to say this to HR, and it's just, I feel like more recently in my career, because I've worked for companies more recently, I say tech, that are more I don't know, I don't want to use the word woke, but they just seem a bit more sustainable. Yeah, just more socially conscious about what's going on and how to kind of navigate these situations. I don't see or feel it as much, but early on in my career, I heard some things.
I hear them.
It's like, what?
Yeah, I have lots of different clients, and I also have people that I sit around or I work with that are not necessarily clients, like maybe they're suppliers, or maybe I'm at, like, I don't know, a co-working space, or I'm around different people, and I hear things, and I'm just like, no, it's mad in the dunya. Like, it's crazy.
Because they think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's like, I've heard things where I couldn't believe, but I think it's maybe like smaller companies. Like, I don't think smaller companies
or the ones in my head, I was like smaller companies.
Yeah. And anything goes. But there have been people who have been like, they've done certain things at work, or they've expressed certain opinions on, specifically on this kind of Israel Palestine stuff, and they have been like fired. And I guess the last thing I was just thinking, like, if your company has a stance, if the thing about coming out with a stance on something is that if someone agrees with that stance, you can't really get upset with them. Do you know what I mean? So if someone gets upset, like, let's say you come out and say you support Israel. If somebody in your team now goes and says something which is supportive of Israel, but then excludes or offends a Palestinian member of the team, and that person raises a grievance against that person or makes a complaint, what can then happen? So they're just repeating what you said. Obviously, hopefully they're repeating in the same respectful way. But if they're repeating what you said, there's nothing. It's just so exclusionary.
And it just gets complicated, because then you, as a manager, you can't be the human manager for that. Like, if that goes substantiated and needs to be looked at further, like, but then where do we go? Like, because did you talk to your manager about, like, where does it stop?
There's going to be tribunal cases that come out of this for sure. There's going to be so many people who like feel that they can't stay there. It's not a safe space for them. Psychologically, constructive dismissal. You know, people are going to say discrimination. There's, around these kind of times, there's always a rise in hate speech and hate, like, stuff like, you know, hate crimes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I did take solace in some of the, like, solidarity that I've seen amongst different groups. That's been quite, like, the internet is a mess right now. But there's, every now and again, there's like a little gem of a video that keeps me, like, saying, I think we might get time, you know.
Yeah, a whole episode on politics in the workplace.
Yeah. I mean, final thoughts. Is that Joe Springer or Maureen? Joe Springer.
Joe Springer.
Final thoughts.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Just Don't talk about politics.
She can avoid it.
Yeah, I can avoid it. Just
What did you say? Take care of yourselves
that's
for
what you
each other. That's what you used to say.
Oh, R.I.P. man.
Okay. Oh, and
That's a wrap, guys. Bye. Bye.